Today we will solve A2 Physics Paper 4. Topic is gravitational field and questions from 2005 to 2007. Okay, first question. It is from May-June 5 of paper 4. Question 1. The orbit of the Earth, mass 6 into 10 power 24 kg, may be assumed to be a circle of radius 1.5 into 10 power 11 with the Sun at its center as illustrated in figure 1.1. Okay, it is figure 1.1. Earth is moving around the Sun. The distance between the Sun and Earth is 1.5 into 10 power 11 meters and mass of Earth is given 6 into 10 power 24 kg. Okay, the time taken for one orbit is 3.2 into 10 power 7 seconds. Time taken by Earth to complete one rotation around the Sun is 3.2 into 10 power 7 seconds. Calculate the magnitude of the angular velocity of the Earth about the Sun. Now angular velocity is represented by omega and it is equal to 2 pi over t, where this t is time period. Now time period is given, it is 3.2 into 10 power 7. We will substitute the value and we'll get the answer 1.96 into 10 power minus 7. Unit of angular velocity is radian per second, so our answer is 1.96 into 10 power minus 7 radian per second. Next part, the magnitude of the centripetal force acting on the Earth. Centripetal force is given as mr omega square, where this small m represents mass of Earth. This r is the distance from center of the Sun to the center of the Earth. This omega is angular velocity. Now we will substitute the values. This omega we have already calculated. It is 1.96 into 10 power minus 7. This r is the distance. This distance is also given 1.5 into 10 power 11 meters. Now this small m is mass of Earth. Mass of Earth is also given. It is 6 into 10 power 24. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer 3.46 into 10 power 22 Newton. So centripetal force is equal to 3.46 into 10 power 22 Newton. B part, state the origin of the centripetal force calculated in A2. The centripetal force is provided by the gravitational force in between the Sun and Earth. So our answer is gravitational force between the Sun and Earth provides centripetal force. Okay, next part. Determine the mass of the Sun. Okay, our Earth is moving around the Sun, so Earth is experiencing a force that is directed toward the center of the Sun, and this force is called centripetal force, and this centripetal force, as discussed, is provided by the gravitational force. So we can say gravitational force in between the Sun and Earth is equal to centripetal force. So we can write gravitational force is equal to centripetal force. Now gravitational force is given as G capital M small m over r square. Gravitational force according to Newton's law of gravitation, it is equal to G m1 m2 over r square, where this m1 m2 are 2 point masses and r is the separation between these 2 point masses. Now here in our case we have two masses, one Sun and the second is Earth. This capital M is taken as mass of Sun and this small m is mass of Earth, and this r is the separation between Earth and Sun. So our formula is capital G capital M small m over r square. Now for centripetal force we have taken mr omega square, where this small m is mass of Earth. This r is the separation between Earth and the Sun, and this omega is angular velocity of Earth. Now we have to calculate mass of the Sun. So mass of the Sun will be equal to r cube omega square over g. This small m mass of Earth, this small m mass of Earth will be cancelled out, and by rearranging we will get capital M is equal to r cube omega square over g. Now we have to substitute the values. This r is the separation between Sun and Earth. It is given. Its value is 1.5 into 10 power 11. In the formula it is cube, that's why we have taken cube. Now it is omega. Omega is angular velocity. This angular velocity we have just calculated. Angular velocity is equal to 1.96 into 10 power minus 7. So angular velocity is 1.96 into 10 power minus 7. It is square. So we have taken square here, divided by capital G. This capital G is universal gravitational constant, and its value is 6.67 into 10 power negative 11. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer 1.95 into 10 power 30 kg. Unit of mass is kg. October-November 2005 of paper 4. Question 1. The Earth may be considered to be a sphere of radius 6.4 into 10 power 6 meters with its mass of 6 into 10 power 24 kg concentrated at its center. A satellite of mass 650 kg is to be launched from the equator and put into geostationary orbit. Part A. Show that the radius of the geostationary orbit is 4.2 into 10 power 7 meters. Okay, the satellite is in geostationary orbit, means it is moving around the Earth. When it is moving around the Earth, it is experiencing a force that is directed toward the center of the Earth, that is called centripetal force, and this centripetal force is provided by the gravitational force in between the satellite and Earth. So we can say gravitational force is equal to centripetal force. Now gravitational force is given as capital G, capital M, small m over r square, where this G, gravitational constant, capital M, mass of Earth, small m, mass of the satellite, and r is the separation between the satellite and Earth. Centripetal force is given as mr omega square, where this m, mass of the satellite, r is the separation between the satellite and Earth, and this omega is angular velocity of the satellite. Small m will be cancelled out, and Gm, capital G, capital M will be equal to r cube into omega square. Now by making r cube our subject, we get r cube is equal to Gm over omega square. Now we have to substitute the values. Capital G, gravitational constant, which is equal to 6.67 into 10 power negative 11. Capital M, mass of Earth is given 6 into 10 power 24 divided by omega square. Omega is the angular velocity of the satellite, and angular velocity of the satellite is not given. Now we know omega is equal to 2 pi over t, where this t is the time period. So we can say omega angular velocity is equal to 2 pi over time period of the satellite. Now time period of the satellite is also not given. Now we have to check how we can find out the time period of the satellite. First, you keep in mind the condition given here, that the satellite is in geostationary orbit. Now we have to see what are the conditions for the geostationary orbit. Okay, these are the three conditions for geostationary orbit. What are these conditions? They are in equatorial orbits. First condition for geostationary orbit, that they should be in equatorial orbit with exactly the same period of rotation as the Earth, 24 hours. Means the object that is in geostationary orbit, the satellite that is at geostationary orbit, its time period will be equal to time period of Earth, means 24 hours. and move in the same direction as the Earth, west to east, means the direction of the rotation of the satellite should be same as the direction of rotation of Earth. Okay, time period of the satellite will be equal to 24 hours because the satellite is in geostationary orbit. So time period of our satellite is 24 hours, but the time period we have to take in seconds. That's why we have multiplied this one by 60 into 60. So this 24 into 60 into 60 is time period in seconds. Now by solving this one, we get 7.27 into 10 power minus 5. So value of omega is 7.27 into 10 power minus 5, and by taking square of this value we will get 5.3 into 10 power minus 9. Now this is omega square, and omega square we have calculated, it is equal to 5.3 into 10 power 9 minus 9. Now we have substituted all the values. By solving this one we will get the answer r cube is equal to 7.56 into 10 power 22. Now this value is for r cube. We have to find out the radius of the geostationary orbit, means we have to take the cube root of this value. So by taking cube root of this value we will get the answer r is equal to 4.2 into 10 power 7 meters. Part B. Determine the increase in gravitational potential energy of the satellite during its launch from the Earth's surface to the geostationary orbit. Okay, this point A is Earth's surface and this B is geostationary orbit, and we have to find out the change in gravitational potential energy from A to B. Now, what is the formula for gravitational potential energy? Gravitational potential energy is given as minus G capital M small m over R, minus capital G capital M small m over R. In place of R we have taken here R2 and R1. Okay, this is the gravitational potential energy at point B, and this is the gravitational potential energy at point A. We have to subtract the gravitational potential energy at point A from the gravitational potential energy at point B to get the change in gravitational potential energy. Okay, now this negative sign will be multiplied and we will get positive sign, and by taking common capital G, capital M and small m, we will get in the bracket 1 over R1 minus 1 over R2. This R1, this 1 over R1 will be with positive sign and this 1 over R2 will be with negative sign. So this is the expression that we got after rearranging. Now we have to substitute the values. Capital G, gravitational constant, its value is 6.67 into 10 power negative 11. This capital M, mass of Earth is given 6 into 10 power 24. This small m, mass of the satellite, it is 650 kg. It is also given mass of the satellite 650 kg and mass of Earth is 6 into 10 power 24 kg. Okay, now we have to substitute value of R1 and R2. R1 is the value of the satellite when it was at surface of the Earth. When the satellite is at the surface of the Earth, this R1 will be equal to radius of the Earth, and radius of the Earth is given 6.4 into 10 power 6. Radius of the Earth is given 6.4 into 10 power 6. So R1 will be equal to 6.4 into 10 power 6. Now R2 is the distance from the center of the Earth to the geostationary orbit. Means R2 is the distance from the center of the Earth to the point B, and this distance is given 4.2 into 10 power 7. This distance is given 4.2 into 10 power 7. Okay, we have substituted all the values. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer 3.45 into 10 power 10 joules. Okay. Next part C, suggests one advantage of launching satellite from the equator in the direction of rotation of the Earth. Okay, it is our Earth. It is spinning about its axis. This point is equator and this point is pole. This point is pole. First we check what is the velocity of Earth at equator and at pole, or at this point any intermediate point x. Velocity is given at distance over time. Okay, distance. This Earth is spinning about its axis. It is moving like this. So we can say the total distance covered by the Earth to complete one rotation will be equal to circumference of this circle. And circumference of this circle will be given by a relation 2 pi r, because circumference formula for circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. And time taken to complete this rotation will be represented by t. This t is the time period. Okay, all of us know that time period or time taken by Earth to complete one rotation is 24 hours. Whether the object is at this point, at this point, at this point, or at this point, it will take 24 hours. Okay, now if the radius, this radius is more, this time period is constant, this t is constant. If this r will increase, then we will say this v will increase, and if this r will decrease, the value of v will be decreased. So we can say the velocity of the Earth at the equator is maximum and velocity at the pole will be minimum. When we will move from the equator towards the pole, what we are looking, this radius is continuously decreasing. Since the radius is decreasing, so we can say velocity will also decrease. Let us suppose this point is A and this point is B. Then we can say at point A, velocity will be greater, velocity will be more, and at point this B, velocity will be less, because this radius, this distance is less as compared to this distance. Okay, we have seen that at the equator, velocity is maximum. So when we launch a rocket from the equator, this velocity of the Earth will give a boost to the satellite. So we will check what is the answer here. Launching a rocket from the equator in the direction of rotation of the Earth gives an additional boost to the rocket due to rotational speed of Earth. What is the reason for this boost? The rotation of Earth imparts velocity to the rocket, and this effect is maximized at the equator. Okay. Okay, next question. It is from May-June 2006 of paper 4. The Earth may be considered to be a uniform sphere with its mass m concentrated at its center. A satellite of mass m orbits the Earth such that the radius of the circular orbit is r. Show that the linear speed v of the satellite is given by the expression v is equal to under root gm over r. Okay. Now satellite is moving around the Earth. It means there is a centripetal force and also gravitational force, and we can say this centripetal force is equal to gravitational force. Now formula for centripetal force is mv square over r. We have studied two formula for centripetal force, one mr omega square and second one is mv square over r. We are considering mv square over r. Okay, centripetal force is mv square over r and gravitational force is equal to capital G capital M small m over r square. Now this small m is mass of the satellite. It will be cancelled out, and by rearranging we will get V square is equal to Gm over R, and by taking square root on both the sides we will get V is equal to under root Gm over R. Part B, for this satellite, write down expressions in terms of capital G, capital M, small m and R for its kinetic energy and for its gravitational potential energy. Okay, for kinetic energy, we know centripetal force is equal to gravitational force. Centripetal force is given as mv square over r. Gravitational force is given as G capital M small m over r square. Now this one r on the right hand side and this r will be cancelled out, and we will get mv square is equal to G capital M small m over r. Now we have to multiply 1 by 1 over 2 on both sides. By multiplying we will get half mv square is equal to capital G capital M small m over 2r. Now this half mv square, it represents kinetic energy, so we can say kinetic energy is equal to G capital M small m over 2r. And potential energy, it is given as minus G capital M small m over r. Potential energy is given as minus capital G capital M small m over r. Okay, now next part, we have to calculate total energy. Total energy is sum of kinetic and potential energy. Kinetic energy is equal to G capital M small m over 2r, and this potential energy is equal to minus G capital M small m over r. It is value of potential energy and it is kinetic energy. Now by taking LCM and by solving we got minus G capital M small m over 2r. So this is the value for total energy. Next part, part C, the total energy of the satellite gradually decreases. State and explain the effect of this decrease on the radius of the orbit. Okay, it is a total energy. Total energy is equal to minus capital G capital M small m over 2r. Now we have to find out with the decrease in total energy what will be the effect on the radius. Okay, when this total energy will be decreased, this R will be decreased. So what is the answer here? With decrease in total energy, the value will be more negative, so radius R will decrease. Okay, next part, the linear speed v of the satellite. Velocity and kinetic energy is related by the formula half mv square. So we can say if velocity will increase, kinetic energy will increase. So if total kinetic energy is increasing, then velocity will increase. So velocity will increase here. Next question, it is from October-November 2006 of paper 4. Question 1. The definitions of electric potential and of gravitational potential at a point have some similarity. State one similarity between these two definitions. Okay, at point infinity, for both the potential, the value is 0. Means electric potential and gravitational potential at infinity is taken 0. So the similarity we can write at infinity both are at 0 potential. Explain why values of gravitational potential are always negative, whereas values of electric potential may be positive and or negative. Okay, gravitational force or gravitational potential is attractive force or attractive potential. An attractive force is taken negative. This is gravitational potential, it is taken negative because it is always attractive. So for attractive force, the value is considered negative. Now electric force may be positive or negative because electric force may be attractive or repulsive. If we are considering electric potential in between two same charges, then it will be repulsive and it will be taken positive. And if we are considering electric potential in between two opposite charges, then it will be attractive and it will be considered negative. So what is the answer? Gravitational force is attractive, so work is got out and value is taken negative. In electric potential, work is to be done when two like or same charges are brought closer and the value will be positive. Work is got out when opposite charges come closer and the value will be negative. Okay. Now next question, it is from May-June 2007 of paper 4. Explain what is meant by a gravitational field. Okay, gravitational field is a region or a space where a mass experiences a force. Next part, a spherical planet has mass m and radius r. The planet may be considered to have all its mass concentrated at its center. A rocket is launched from the surface of the planet such that the rocket moves radially away from the planet. The rocket engines are stopped when the rocket is at a height r above the surface of the planet as shown in the figure 1.1. Okay, the mass of the rocket after its engines have been stopped is m. Part 1, show that the rocket to travel from a height r to a height of 2r above the planet's surface, the change in potential energy delta EP in the magnitude of the gravitational potential energy of the rocket is given by the expression delta EP is equal to capital G capital M small m over 6r. Okay, we have to write this expression delta EP is equal to capital G capital M small m over 6r. Okay, what are the conditions given here? A rocket is fired from the surface of the earth. When the rocket is at point A, its engine stops, but because of inertia, it is still moving. And when it is at point B, we have to find out the change in gravitational potential energy in between A and B. Okay, we have to find out the change in gravitational potential energy in between A and B. Okay, when the engine stops, means when the rocket is at point A, the total distance from the center of the planet is equal to 2r. And when the rocket is at point B, the total distance from the center of the planet is 3r. Now for the change in gravitational potential energy, we can say the change in potential energy from A to B will be equal to potential energy at B minus potential energy at A. Okay, gravitational potential energy is given as Gmm over R. When the rocket is at point B, this R value of R is equal to 3R, and when the rocket is at point A, the value is 2R. So we can write delta EP change in potential energy is equal to minus G capital M small m over 3R minus in bracket minus G capital M small m over 2R. Okay, this negative sign will be multiplied and we will get positive, and by taking LCM and common we got G capital M small m in bracket 1 over 2R minus 1 over 3R. This 1 over 2R will be with positive sign. This 1 over 3R will be with negative sign. So we will have 1 upon 2R minus 1 upon 3R. Okay, now here we have to take LCM, and by taking LCM we will get capital G capital M small m over 6R, the same expression we have already derived. During the ascent from a height r to a height 2r, the speed of the rocket changes from 7600 meter per second to 7320 meter per second. Show that in SI units the change in kinetic energy of the rocket is given by the expression delta Ek is equal to 2.09 into 10 power 6 m. Okay, kinetic energy is given as half mv square. We have to find out change in kinetic energy. So we have to subtract the kinetic energy at point B from the kinetic energy at point A. So kinetic energy at point A is equal to half m v2 square and kinetic energy at point B is half m v1 square. Okay, we have to substitute the values. This m, mass of the rocket, is not given, so we will write m as it is. This v2 is equal to 7600 and v1 is equal to 7320. We have substituted the values and we got the answer 2.09 into 10 power 6 m, where m is mass of the rocket, and the same equation we have derived. Next part, part C. The planet has a radius of 3.40 into 10 power 6 meter. Use the expression in B to determine the value of mass m of the planet. Okay, here we have to calculate the mass of the planet. Okay, here the rocket is moving, so we can say it has kinetic energy and its height is changing, or its distance from the surface of the planet is changing, so we can say it has also potential energy. So change in kinetic energy will be equal to change in potential energy. So we can write change in potential energy is equal to change in kinetic energy. Change in potential energy, for change in potential energy we have derived this expression G capital M small m over 6R. This one we have derived here. Okay. This change in potential energy will be equal to change in kinetic energy, and change in kinetic energy we have calculated 2.09 into 10 power 6 m, so it will be equal to 2.09 into 10 power 6. Okay, here this small m will be cancelled out, and by rearranging we will get m is equal to 2.09 into 10 power 6 into 6r over g. Okay, now we have to substitute the values. 2.09 10 power 6 as it is, it will be written, it is written 6r. 6r, r is the radius of the planet. Radius of the planet is 3.40 into 10 power 6. So we can write here 6 into 3.4 into 10 power 6 divided by capital G. This capital G, G is universal gravitational constant and its value is 6.67 into 10 power negative 11. Okay, by solving this one, we will get the answer 6.39 into 10 power 23 kg. So the mass of the planet is 6.39 into 10 power 23 kg. Okay, state one assumption made in the determination in 1. Okay, here we have considered that all the gravitational potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. So we can say we have considered here that there is no resistive force, there is no frictional force. So what is the answer here? There is no frictional or resistive force because of air, or we can just write here there is no frictional or resistive force. Next question, it is from October-November 2007 of paper 4. Question 2, A part. An amount of 1 mole of helium gas is contained in a cylinder at a pressure of 1.02 into 10 power 5 Pascal and a temperature of 27 degrees centigrade. Calculate the volume of gas in the cylinder. Okay, this part is from the chapter Ideal Gases, and in the chapter of the ideal gases you have studied the formula PV is equal to nRT, where this P is for pressure, V is volume of the gas, N is number of moles, R is constant and T is temperature in Kelvin. Here we have to calculate volume of the gas, so volume of the gas V will be equal to nRT over P. Now we have to substitute the values. N number of moles, it is given here 1 mole. R is constant and its value is 8.31. This temperature we have to take in Kelvin. This temperature is in centigrade. To convert this one into Kelvin, we have to add 273. So 27 plus 273 is temperature in Kelvin divided by P. P is the pressure. It is given here 1.02 into 10 power 5. Now we have substituted all the values. By solving this one, we will get the answer 0.0244 and unit of volume is meter cube. So our answer is 0.0244 meter cube. Okay, hence show that the average separation of gas atom in the cylinder is approximately 3.4 into 10 power minus 9 meter. Okay, we have to find out the separation between the atoms. Okay, first we have to calculate the volume occupied by one atom. Volume occupied by one atom will be equal to volume of the gas divided by Avogadro's number. Because in 1 mole of any gas, there is a fixed number of particles, there is a fixed number of molecules that is equal to 6.02 into 10 power 23, and this number is called Avogadro's number. Okay, by solving this one, we got 4.06 into 10 power minus 26. Now the molecules are moving along x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. We have 3 axes, so we have to take cube root of this value, and by taking cube root of this value, we will get the answer 3.44 into 10 power minus 9. So the separation between the atoms will be equal to 3.44 into 10 power minus 9 meters. Next part, calculate the gravitational force between two helium atoms that are separated by a distance of 3.4 into 10 power minus 9 meter. Now we have to calculate the gravitational force between two helium atoms that are at a distance of 3.4 into 10 power minus 9 meter. Okay, gravitational force is given as G m1 m2 over r square. Now we have to substitute the values. This G is equal to 6.67 into 10 power negative 11. Now this M1 and M2. This M1 and M2 both are mass of helium atoms. So in place of M1 and M2, we can say it will be equal to M into M, or we can say M square. So it will be M square. Now what will be the value of M? In helium atom, there is total number of protons and neutrons 4. In helium atom, the mass number is 4 and unit mass is taken 1.66 into 10 power minus 27. So total mass of one helium atom will be equal to 4 into 1.66 into 10 power minus 27. Since here is 2 helium atom, so we can take square of this value divided by r square. The separation between them is 3.4 into 10 power minus 9. So we have to divide this one by 3.4 into 10 power minus 9. Here it is square, that's why we have to take square here. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer 2.49 into 10 power minus 46 Newton. So the force between two helium atoms is equal to 2.49 into 10 power minus 46 Newton. Next part. Now we have to calculate the ratio in between weight of helium atom and gravitational force between two helium atom with separation 3.4 into 10 power minus 9 meter. Okay, what is the weight of helium atom? Weight is equal to m into g. Okay, m is mass of one helium atom. We have taken 4 into 1.66 into 10 power minus 27. So this is the value of m, the value of mass for one helium atom. We have to multiply this value by acceleration due to gravity, means 9.81. When we will multiply this mass with acceleration due to gravity, this product will be equal to weight of helium atom. Okay, gravitational force between two helium atoms. This one we have already calculated. We have calculated here. It is equal to 2.49 into 10 power minus 46. So we have to divide this value by 2.49 into 10 power minus 46. And by dividing this value, we will get the answer 2.6 into 10 power 20. Now it is the ratio of two forces, so there will be no unit. Okay, next part C, comment on your answer in B2 with reference to one of the assumption of the kinetic theory of the gases. Okay, with reference to the assumption of kinetic theory, we have to answer this question. Okay, if we study the assumption of kinetic theory, this number 3, it is written here, there are no forces of attraction or repulsion between the molecules. So what is the assumption of kinetic molecular theory? If for an ideal gas, there will be no force of attraction or repulsion in between the gaseous molecules. So it is the assumption written here, there are no forces of attraction or repulsion between gaseous molecules. Okay, we have to answer with reference to the B part 2. Okay, here we have calculated one ratio in between the weight and the gravitational force. What we are looking here, force of attraction in between the gaseous molecule is very small, too small as compared to weight of the helium atom, because the ratio what we are looking, it is equal to 2.6 into 10 power 20. 10 power 20, it is positive 20 and it is negative 46, means this force of attraction is very small. So we can say, according to kinetic molecular theory, there is no force of attraction or repulsion between the gas molecule, and the same thing we have checked in our calculation, that the force of attraction is very small as compared to weight of the helium atom. So what is the answer you have to write here? There are no forces of attraction or repulsion between the gas molecules. The ratio shows gravitational force of attraction is very small, that is in accordance of kinetic theory of the gases. Okay, this is yeah, end of the question. Okay, thank you very much.